Rajesh, how are you? I'm seeing you after a long time. After leaving JNU, I think I haven't met you at all. I think you're right now with the University of Hyderabad, right? I don't recognize you, definitely. I mean, I just saw your name and just calling you.
Okay. No, I haven't changed much. I'm recognizing the others, Sudhakar sir, BDS sir, and then our Tamil Vendan sir. Yeah, you also not changed much.
You have put on weight. I mean, that's why I couldn't recognize you.
Not much. I'm sitting near the camera.
Okay.
Hello, Rajesh and Dr. Gautam. Hello. Hi, Rajesh. Gautam is also here. And Matthew, I'm able to recognize you, Matthew. Yeah.
Sudhakar sir, you recognize Tamil Vendan wearing your patented French.
Very much, Tamil Vendan.
So inspired by you, I started sporting a French belt ever since.
Yeah, in the international meet, I met your brother. Yeah, I met your brother.
Okay.
I conveyed regards to you. I conveyed my regards to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My apologies. Sir, just 1 minute, sir.
Yes, sorry.
There was a technical issue, so we'll just begin with the prayer songs.
Yeah, please go ahead. Nice to see Sainath.
Respected Reverend Father Principal, distinguished invitees, members of Venugopalan sir's family, Mrs. Girija Venugopalan, Mr. Vignesh and Mr. Shishir, alumni of the History Department, respected senior staff members and former heads of the department, Professor Ranganathan, coordinator of Shift 2, my dear colleagues and students of the department. We have come here together today, this evening, in memory of one person, Professor D.P. Venugopalan. Each of us present here are pained, feel deprived as a very loud, cherished soul has departed from our midst. Though we all know that death is something inevitable, yet we cannot deny that we all felt was too soon. It is definitely an unbearable loss to the bereaved family members and to his students, of whom he was very proud always. He told me when I went to his home to invite him for the alumni meet in 2019, Anuradha, I am yet to see a history graduate unemployed. He came for the alumni meet in 2019, and he also promised that he will bring Professor Munusamy along with him for the meet. They all came along with all our senior professors. It was a very vibrant meet that we had in 2019. I've always known him as a polite, humble, straightforward, and a very passionate human being. On behalf of the Department of History, we pay our homage and pledge to continue the good work he has left behind. I now invite Reverend Father Principal Thomas S.J. to share his words and give his message.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Respected staff, faculty of the History Department, the past and the present. Beloved members of Venugopal's family, my dear alumni and the students of History Department, good evening to all of you. A saying goes, a teacher affects eternity, and we can never tell where their influence ends. I think this saying fits him perfectly. He has affected eternity. His love and compassion and affection for the students has touched everyone whom he met. I think all those who were touched by him will always remember him with such beautiful memory. That's why I see so many of you gathered here to pay your homage to him. As a Jesuit administrator, what I admired in him is the way he internalized the characteristics of Jesuit education and tried his best to imbibe the very same values, virtues, and characteristics of Jesuit education among the students he taught. He not only enjoyed the subjects he taught, which I happened to hear a few times, but also made sure every student enjoyed the subjects he taught. To create a passion and interest for the subject is something a very rare quality of a teacher, and that way he was a gifted teacher. No doubt the Jesuit management had a great faith and confidence in him, and as a result, apart from his teaching, the Jesuit management also entrusted him with quite a few responsibilities on the campus. He was a head of the department, then became a vice principal, and the college had such a great faith and admiration for him. Even after retirement, they kept him in the campus and appointed him as the controller of examination, which is a sacred office on the campus. And so much so, even on the very same day, we came to know the sudden demise of Professor Venugopalan. We were thinking of calling him to the college for an important consultation because he enjoyed such a huge reputation. Today, as we all sit together to mourn the death of Professor, we all realize our life is limited, short. Certainly, his demise is a huge loss for all of us. But I'm very confident death is not the end of life. And especially for a person like Professor, it is not the end. I'm very confident that he will continue to live in the minds and hearts of his students. But for that, so many of you would not have left your important task and would have joined this meeting. That shows your admiration for this great man. Today, on behalf of the JSID management, I would like to thank the entire family for giving us the gift of Professor Venugopalan to this campus. JSID management is deeply grateful. We appreciate his service and we will always remember him with grateful hearts. In the same tone, we also express our deep, heartfelt condolences to the family members. To all his beloved alumni and his students. Certainly, his memory has to be perpetuated. Maybe later we should think of exploring the possibility of perpetuating his memory on the campus for the yeoman service he rendered to this campus. And it is our fervent prayer that may he continue to abide in the abode of the Almighty. Once again, I express our condolence to the family, and I would like to thank all of you for this golden opportunity given to me as a principal of this college. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for so beautifully summarizing his presence in Loyola and his contribution to the department and to the institution at large. I now invite Sainath sir to present his thoughts and share his words with us.
Romy, Professor Munusamy is online. Yes, come on.
நீங்களா பேசுங்க இது இல்ல பேசுங்க வாய்ஸ் தான் வரணும் பேசுங்க
ஹலோ கேமரா இல்லையா
நீங்க அப்படியே பேசுங்க
ஹலோ
சார் பேசுங்க, முனிசாமி சார் பேசுங்க, நாங்க கேட்கிறோம்.
Ask him to unmute. He isn't unmuted.
ஹலோ சார் கேக்குது சார் கேக்குது.
Yes, sir. Okay, Sainath sir. Sainath sir is able to hear.
Connecting. My sincere and deepest condolences to the family of Professor Venugopalan. And the rest of you, as I was saying before the prayer began, I'm conflicted between being happy to see so many of you from after years and the very sad occasion that we are meeting over. That is so unfortunate. I do believe it was a passing too soon. Professor's death. When, if I remember rightly, people like Bernard, Sami and I were already veterans of the history department in 75 when I think Professor Venugopalan joined us. And I'd like to take something from a line from what Professor Anuradha said. You know, there's a reason and a culture, a mindset behind his statement and pride that he does not know one history graduate who does not have a job, who is unemployed. The reason, look, in Chennai in the mid-70s, and I'm afraid, I believe much later also, as a student, I experienced it with my own principals and others in different colleges. Chennai of 1970s, you either wanted to be a doctor or an engineer or you were a moron. Okay, I mean, that was the attitude. You know, a little later, two other castes were added to it, right? I mean, MBA came into the picture with our connections with XLRI and everything else. But as a youngster, these were supposed to be your goals, doctor or engineer. And I think Professor Venugopalan's statement to you reflects that memory, that, you know, the way we were at history as a subject was, there was one famous occasion where a very senior academic told me when I was choosing the subject that, you know, history is assigned to those we reject from zoology. Okay, so to which I replied that I'm sorry to say I've just been rejected from zoology. But I think Professor Venugopal held that memory of history being looked down on. What's the use? What does it lead to? It was still on the cusp of when it became a very important subject for the competitive exams. And I think he felt strongly about that. And inside the, you know, I think that he came to a department where students did challenge their teachers. And he was fitted very effortlessly and easily into that. He was both in academic terms and in polemical discourse, he was willing to engage. He was really willing to engage, and that was part of the culture of the department. And he just walked into it effortlessly and built on it. I was, in fact, very saddened when I, afterwards, I mean, in a year and a half after that, after he joined, I was out and, you know, never went back to Chennai in that sense of living there. But I was very sad when I got the call. In fact, it was Professor Munuswamy who informed me first that, you know, that Professor Venugopalan had passed away. It's very saddening. It's really very saddening. I hope maybe the department will have a, you know, an annual lecture in his honor, something like that. And once again, my sincere condolences to Professor Venugopalan's family and to the Loyola History Department and the Loyola family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for so beautifully summarizing your words. And definitely, we are also looking towards creating a lecture in memory of Dr. Professor Venugopalan, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the words. Next, I would like to call upon Dr. A.K. Vishwanathan, sir, to share his words with us.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you. The principal, my own teachers who are online, present faculty members, my friends from the same schools in various walks of life, and more importantly, the family members, my respects to all of them. I still remember the first. Can you hear? Any problems?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
So I still remember first day Professor Venugopal gave an introduction to studying history in Loyola. So his passion was very, very evident there, and he made it a point to tell us that it won't be an easy thing to get a degree. We have to work very hard about studying history. We should not take it lightly. This is not the place for coming and getting a degree. One has to work for it. That was the message he was categorically giving in the first introductory class. That is how he created a passion in history. I can still say every day till date, I read something of history, a few pages, some incident, some story, some history. I make it a point to read every day. So that is the kind of passion he instilled in us. And I still remember the way to take classes for us, and I still remember many of the things he has told. One very favorite statement he used to make: peacemaking through matchmaking. So that was one of his statements, and many his favorite sentence: there is an undeniable intimacy between this and that. He had a lot of impact on us, and his excellence in the subject. He was very, very thorough in what he taught us, and much more. One very, very striking thing about him is the affection he showered on us. It was irrespective of anyone, irrespective of the status, irrespective of anything. He was very, very affectionate till the end, till the conversation I had with him about a month back. One thing I can sense in his voice is the affection that was always there. He was very, very friendly, and he was always giving. He was always giving in terms of advice or any other help, always giving, always ready to help when anybody would go to him for any kind of advice or any help. He would be there to do his best. And he made it comfortable. Like the whole department was like that, but he made it very comfortable to come to him, go to him and ask for help. And he used every opportunity to perfect a student in any way that was possible. I still remember that time when we were there, many innovations were tried. The group discussion as a technique was introduced in history department, and he would sit for hours trying to help us perfect how to go about a group discussion. And doing all this, he expected nothing but affection from us. He never asked for anything. He never, even when we all had come up in life, all he wanted to know about was about our welfare and whether we are happy, and always sharing his happiness about our achievements. That is all he asked for and nothing else. So he's a very great soul. And he visited me when I was in Coimbatore as commissioner, and he was so happy to see us there. And always he kept in touch. I kept in touch with him. And it's like an elder brother going. He was, we all miss him. And it will be very difficult for the family. My deepest condolences to overcome to praying to the God to give the strength to overcome this loss. We all are with you, ma'am and sons. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have echoed the thoughts of all his students. Each student who sent a message, this is what they said. Sir has deeply impacted our life. He has changed our life. And this is exactly what you have told in your words. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I now invite Matthew Tharakan, sir. Matthew, sir.
Good evening to everyone, respected Father Principal, professors, my colleagues, and also my fellow students, and also distinguished guests. My name is Matthew Tharakan. I am the chairman for Loyola College alumni chapters in United States. I was a student of Professor Venugopalan in Loyola College from 1979 to 1982. For me, it was a thrill in attending his classes. He was an young man at the time with a French bearded professor who spoke excellent English and very knowledgeable in Indian and world history. I did hung around after classes to talk to him in Malayalam. And he was always nice to me. And I saw his face was lit up when I talked to him about Kerala. When I visited India, I would go to history department to see him. Recently, I was able to talk to him more than an hour while inviting him to attend US alumni chapters, world famous Meet Your Professor series. he couldn't attend due to the health reasons. We were delighted to have Professor Muniswamy and Professor Sudhakar spoke to many of the old students at that event. I was reading an article Professor wrote recently about his 40 years of professional life. In that, he mentioned all the professors. He did work with. He wrote that many people, this is his own words, many people have been generous with their time and scholarship in helping me to shape my life and future. I wish to cite especially the contributions of Reverend Father, late Kuriakos S.J., the principal, and Professor S. Rajendran, head of the Department of History, Professor Berkmans, Professor Miranda, Professor Clarence Mota, and Professor Muniswamy. They were remarkable relevance to my life. What an excellent memory he wrote. He did cherish for his colleagues. Today, we cherish Professor Venugopal's life in the same way. The legacy he left behind, the memories of being attended his enthusiastic classroom, and the life he did help us to shape, and we miss him dearly. At this time, I would like to express my deepest condolences on behalf of the entire US Alumni Chapter members. God bless the departed soul, and the professor is in a better place now. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful words that you have told about. So you have shared your days in Loyola. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And I invite Sanjay Pinto, sir, to share a few words with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, Reverend Father Principal, my esteemed seniors, professors, department. I'm Sanjay Pinto, NH10, and I say this with great pride. It's my badge of honor and proud student of Professor Venugopalan. When I joined the history department, a lot of eyebrows were raised. People asked me, why not BCom? Why not economics? And I said, look, history was by choice. And I said that with a lot of trepidation and with a lot of hope as well. And the moment I stepped into the department, I realized that history is not a department at Loyola College. History is a family, and it still is. And that umbilical cord will never snap between students and professors, the faculty members, and the institution. The kind of energy that Professor Venu brought to every lecture, to every class, it made me believe that he brought histrionics to history. He brought histrionics to history. He was able to dramatize several ideas, concepts, events. I still remember, when he explained to us Tughlaq's change of capital, and he used a beautiful anecdote when he said, there was a person sitting at a party, touched, a pretty woman sitting opposite the table. Did it the first time, second time, third time, no reaction. And finally, the third time when he did it, also there was no reaction. And as he was leaving, the girl's father called him aside and said, son, the idea is fine, but the leg was mine. And he put that in context of changing the capital. I mean, that's the kind of humor he injected into his lectures. That was not a single lecture of his that students missed. Students would never bunk a lecture of Professor Venugopal, as of many other professors as well. And I remember, much before Navjot Singh Sidhu came on the scene, there were Venuisms, the kind of quotable quotes that he came up with, his gems, the smart aleck comments, the sheer wordplay. I still remember Humayun, he said, was a warrior and a warrior. A.K. Vishwanathan, my learned senior, also came up with some of those examples. So he had the art of fiddling with words, and he shattered to smithy this concept or this impression that history was a boring subject. He made history exciting for us. And he made us, never once did we ever have to regret our decision of joining the history department, of taking history. People look down on, outside people look down on history students saying that, look, y'all are rejects. And Mr. Sainath very rightly put it. Been rejected by other departments, so you've landed there. But many of us were there by choice. And what a wonderful tryst we had with history because of legends like Professor Venugopal. Professor Venu was a darling of his students. You know why? Because he never played favorites. There were no favorites for him. Everybody was his blue-eyed boy in the college, in the department. Everyone was equal in his eyes. You know, in our transition from boys to men for others, as Loyola's motto goes, Professor Venu was like an elder brother, but not a big brother. Not once did he try to bully us or reprimand us. It was with sheer love and affection that he actually even sought to correct those who were slightly going a little astray. And for me, the most telling attribute of his was his, the recognition that he gave every student. I mean, that's what you often would tell us. You know, this is what every student wants from a professor: recognition. I still remember very vividly, he would sit in the front row for my debates to cheer me, just as he was there at my wedding reception, sitting on the front row many years ago. And one of the lessons that I learned, this is something that stuck with me, and I still remember writing it down in my diary. He said, "You never lose in life. You never lose in life. You either win or you learn." So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Venu has met his maker, to borrow his own expression, but the legend lives on. And I completely endorse Mr. Sainath's suggestion to have a memorial lecture for Professor Venu. And my deepest condolences to his family, to his wife and his lovely children. I remember meeting them many years ago in their home. I regret not keeping in touch with Professor Venu in the last few years. But I'm sure he's looking down on us, smiling, and coming up with his own punchlines from heaven above. Thank you very much. Once again, my condolences to his family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for so wonderfully putting down your thoughts. And as you said, even I remember once when we had a mentoring session with him for our junior faculty in the department. He made that session so lively and so he made history come alive. So a lot of things that we have learned from Venu sir, and surely we will keep on the work that he has done. And as I already mentioned to you, we will definitely have a lecture, a memorial lecture in his honor. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I invite Sir M.N. Rajesh to share his thoughts.
Good evening, respected principal, dear professors, the family of Professor Venugopal sir, and all my other friends. Actually, I was a student of evening college from 1987 to 1990. And in the first year, Professor Venugopal taught us medieval Indian history. And as Sanjay Pinto had said, that this was a time when few people were interested to join history, but he actually changed the whole perception with his highly theatrical mode of delivering lectures. And many of these words, it was one quote I remember from him was telling us that remembering all these names, it's my responsibility. By the end of the course or by the end of the year, you'll remember all these names and dates. And he kept on spurring us and saying us that you should do this, you should do that, and also give us a lot of encouragement, asking us to visit this library, that is Kanimura Library, US Library, etc., etc. And it's only from that what has happened is that many of us had come from private study, etc. We all graduated to become full-fledged academicians and took a different road. One of the prime reasons was because of Dr. Venugopal's sir's constant encouragement, and every class was as refreshing. In those days, we had only this boring Doordarshan, and then what happened was we used to have first Clarence Mota sir's class, and the next day we used to have Venugopal sir's class. Mota sir used to say that there's a program called Keep Fit in Doordarshan. And next day, Venugopal sir used to come and say that, okay, I'll make you all fit. And then he used to ask us, don't try to remember anything. It'll automatically be drilled into your heads. How? Because you used to explain things by using anecdotes, jokes, quotations, etc. And these things I still remember and use them in my class. Now, it must be a very difficult time for the family of Venugopal sir. And at this juncture, we all pray and join others in expressing our condolences, and we'll always be there to perpetuate his memory. And as Sainath sir has said, it would be fitting from our side to be part of an annual lecture and also a publication dedicated to his name. My deepest condolences. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your words. I invite Tamil Vendan sir. Tamil Vendan sir.
Yeah, good evening, dear friends. It was a shocker when I heard the news that Professor D.P. Venugopalan is no more with us. It was probably a few months ago that I had spoken to him, and I'd been in touch with him over the phone. And the first thing that I remember about Professor Venugopalan is that he was like a Formula One car. When we go to his class, the class is filled, to the brim. It's like 60 seconds to the minute. The densely packed sessions is something that, I still remember. It'll leave us, huffing and puffing to stay in touch with them. There would be occasions when there would be, discussions which are not part of the syllabus, but then he'd quickly come back to the stream because he'd be very conscious about the time and he wanted to, give us the value for money as far as the class went. The other thing of significance that I remember about Professor Venugopalan is that I was followed by my brother Shankar. So much after both of us passed out, he would always remember one thing, that from the same family, two sports persons who would go on to become the captains of the college teams. I was the captain of volleyball and Shankar was captain of the hockey team. And both of us would go on to, do our higher studies in Delhi. And then both of us to, enter the civil services. He would say that that was a very interesting, coincidence for these two brothers to do so well. And I, for one, would always hold them in great stead because those were the times when we would be a little immature and I would be spending more time on the volleyball field than in the classes. And I would always be reprimanded by Professor Munuswamy and Professor Bernardi Swamy. And there was no hope of me really doing well in academics at one point of time, but then they managed to steer me and inspire me. Especially Professor Venugopalan has been such a source of inspiration, and we the FF batch had this great privilege of having three different heads of departments. In the first year, our head of the department was Professor Clarence Valvan Mota. He retired that year. And then Professor Miranda took over as the head of the department, and he also retired in our second year. And the third year, our head of the department was Professor Munuswamy. And around this galaxy of, this triumvirate of great scholars, we had Professor Venugopalan, Professor Sudhakar, Professor Philander Jayachandran, Professor Bernardi Swamy, bringing up the whole team. And we were so blessed to be in their midst. And today, Professor Venugopalan, must have left a very satisfied soul. The last moments would, it would have flashed by that his products are doing very well. And thanks to him and thanks to the great service of the, these noble teachers that we have had, we are all where we are, and we are so thankful to Professor Venugopalan. And I take this opportunity to express my, last respects to the beloved teacher who's no more with us. My heartfelt condolences to the family of Professor Venugopalan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for beautifully putting down your thoughts. We'll now have a very short video on the photos which we had on of Professor Venugopalan sir. So it's a photo tribute that we pay to Professor Venugopalan sir. Just a second. So now I request Dr. G.J. Sudhakar to share his thoughts, and definitely it will be a very difficult moment for you, sir. So we invite you to speak about Professor Venugopalan.
Yeah, I would like to say good evening, but that's more of a custom to say good evening. But it's an evening where it's full of emotions and sadness. And this, I must first of all pay compliments to Mrs. Anuradha and the faculty and students for putting up that photo exhibition just now. I think that made change my mood much more emotional. It's become more emotional seeing so many pictures. But thanks for that effort. It's wonderful to remember. Now, at the outset, let me begin formally. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Anuradha, the head of the department, and the administration of the college for planning this program and putting up in such a wonderful way. The principal was there, and thanks to him, and also for inviting me to talk here. But before I move any further, again, I would like to pay my condolence to Mrs. Venugopal, whom I've had the pleasure of knowing, in the sense that as a junior staff of Professor Venugopal, I've had occasions to meet her in her house with her husband. And Bigu and Sishir, both the sons of Professor Venugopal, were the names that we always heard right from their admission to the Union Christian School, as to how Professor Venugopal struggled to get them admission in one of the best schools in the city, and so on and so forth. Now, I like to call my presentation as Remembering Venu with Gratitude, because he has done so many things to me personally. This is not the place to talk about it. That would be a more different kind of program that I should be talking about it. But I just like to call this as Remembering Venu. That's how I called him right through. I was an old student at Madras Christian College. I was used to a very westernized kind of atmosphere there. When I entered Loyola College, when I saw Venu, who was almost 10 years older, I straight away called him Venu, and I was feeling embarrassed whether that was the right thing. And Venu said, no, just feel comfortable, just call me Venu. And I did that till the very end. Now, I don't have to talk about him as but I just attest that, his teaching abilities. So many distinguished alumni, whether it be Sainath or A.K. Vishnath or Sanjay Pinto, Matthew Tarakan, or anybody else, Tamil Vendan, others who spoke, all such very distinguished alumni have spoken about his teaching ability. So he was undoubtedly, I just like to attest as a professor of history that he was a very good teacher. Undoubtedly, he was a very good teacher. But only one example I would like to give about his teaching ability. I think it was about 1980. I was an NSS officer with Professor Munusamy, and the old NSS block, which is of course now modernized, of chemistry block. I was just walking, and one of our distinguished students who left sometime in 81 or 82, Madhu Kumar Reddy. I don't know how many of you remember him. He joined the Indian Railway Traffic Service, one of those Class 1 civil services. And he later became member of the railway board, and by now he would have retired, I'm sure. He just walked out, and he just came there and he said, sir, I've listened to one of the best classes in Loyola College. That was on caste system. I know, he says, I can't just think of any other better class. And he was just leaving Loyola to JNU, and when Madhu told me this and left. So I just like to record that. And then one more, perhaps just one little more bit about his teaching ability. Although there's so much has been talked about, as I said, I attest all that. The last class of Professor Venugopal, was in Quinn Hall. I think all of us know Quinn Hall. All of us are from Loyola. So, the last class, one of the old students called Mukund, he's some executive running his own, I think, a courier company now in the city. He came with a movie camera and shot Professor Venugopal's last class. Can you beat it? Last class was shot on camera. So, that was the kind of impression he had made on his students. So, let me not, repeat those points, what other gentlemen have talked about. But I think I would like to underline his relationship with students. I'll give you one more example. I'm into historical research. So, we talk about oral history. So from oral history, that is from my own memory I'm talking, and this could be recorded if at all some record of Professor Venugopal is produced sometime. But there was an occasion when some of us went, when one of our students died, and then we went to a mortuary somewhere in the city here, and the mortuary door was open, and there was such a smell, obviously, human body when it gets decomposed, and many of us refused to enter. But Venu entered the mortuary and saw the student who died and came out. That was his greatness. That was his affection for students and respect for students. Then we contacted a parent who was also the inspector in that place, and we got the body released immediately to the family. And all that we did, and I like to remember Venu for that. Like, he would never miss a wedding of a student, even if it was a distant town. He would travel. He would attend the deaths in the student's family. He was a kind of a father figure, brother in his younger days, and a father figure when he was older. So students worshipped him, as you already have seen. I can see people, quite a few students here, emotional. I can see Gautam has not come out of shock. Gautam, I can see your face, Gautam. He was also my old student. Now, Venu was also a great disciplinarian, a very great disciplinarian. He was so strict in invigilation. One of the great things about Loyola College, and it's about 7 years since I left Loyola. When I look back to Loyola, I've been in a research institute, I've been in a university, and all that. But then when I think about Loyola, the kind of exam, the way the exams are conducted, nothing to beat it. Absolutely nothing to beat it. And Venu was one of the strict disciplinarians who would walk around, and he caught one bright student copying. Can you beat that? A bright student, and the bright student had written the objective answer, what we call the part A answer, and we would give full marks if a student wrote well. See, this guy had copied it in a hanky, and Venu caught the chap, and he removed the hanky and said, see, and the answers were there. And that's Venu. I mean, that kind of disciplinarian that he was. But then he had his knack, as old students have already expressed, that how he conveys human feelings to students and how students would have so much of affection for him. The intra-staff relationship is a wonderful way among the faculty. He would, as I said, he was about 10 years older than me, and he would advise us. He said, you have to always maintain a good professional relationship. He said, you have to say good morning to everybody. You have to say thank you to everybody. Whether you like anybody or not, you must maintain professional relations. Personal relations different. So wonderfully advise us younger staff that what is professional relationship and what is a personal relationship. So I never never refuse a good morning to anybody or a thank you to anybody. I can never refuse to any of my colleagues even a congratulatory note to anybody who would be the worst enemy of mine or a rival of mine in the department, but still I would never do that. He was such a great person, Venu. He advised us so well, And then, of course, I still remember Venu advising us to carry a water bottle. He was from Kerala, and, he would carry water, clean water with, herbs mixed water. He would advise us to carry water bottle. Can you believe more than 25 or 30 years now, I still carry a water bottle whenever I step out of my home. And I remember Venu for that, that wonderful advice that he gave us to carry that safe water. And today, these days of Corona, how it is useful. We all know that. And now, one or two more points, and then I stop. The kind of democratic atmosphere that he always wanted to be maintained in the department. He said every decision in the department should be discussed in the meeting. There should be consultation. All of us, younger or older staff member, all of us should be consulted while buying books for the department or the library. He would insist that each subject teacher would choose the book. He would suggest to the heads of departments. A wonderful tradition of democratic atmosphere that he maintained. And he said all decisions should be arrived at through consensus. And then he was too good in conducting quiz program. I learned from him, and we conducted quiz program. I remember once he was not well, and I had to conduct in his place. It was quite a big shoe that I had to enter, Venu's shoes, but I did that with Professor Mota, and I conducted an intercollegiate. I think Sanjay Maharaj might remember we used to conduct a whole lot of debates and very high quality debates we used to conduct. And Venu himself was a great debater. He did his MA from Pachapas College. He was an ace debater in his days in the city of Madras. So, well, I can go on and on, but I think I'll stop there. But as I said, I would like to end by saying, I would like to, just say that I like to remember Venu with gratitude. That's a very genuine gratitude for all that he did for me. But perhaps this is not the place for me to talk about it sometime later on another occasion. And I thank Mrs. Anuradha, thank the whole department, the college, the administration, Father Principal, and wonderful meeting all the old students, and my deep condolence to Mrs. Venugopal and his children.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for looking into your memory and so beautiful incidents that you quoted, the humane nature of Venu, sir, that you brought out. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, and it's really a pleasure to listen to you. I now invite Dr. Bernard Isami to share his thoughts. Sir has also helped me in organizing this meeting, so thank you, sir, and please share your words with us.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradha. I hope you all can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
So you can boost your audio a little, sir, if you don't mind.
Still low, sir.
Audio is a bit low. If you can increase it a little, sir.
Okay, is it better now or?
Better now, sir.
Better now.
Better.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Sudhakar is saying something, but I'm not able to hear you. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Anuradha, for organizing, this wonderful meeting, memorial meeting in honor of Professor Venugopalan. To be exact, this is 46 years of my relationship with Professor Venugopalan. I joined the college in 74 for PUC, and 75 to 78, that is what Sainath also mentioned. He joined the college, that was his first year, and he came from Government Art College. He was teaching in Chennai for about a year or two. In those days, it was called as 10A1, temporary teaching lecturership in Government Art Colleges for 10 months. So he was teaching in Chennai College. And when there was a vacancy, he appeared for the interview, and Father Kuriakos selected him, and he came and then started taking classes from 1975. With his debating background and excellent English knowledge, he used to be our hero. We all, hooked to him, to listen to him, and to be with him. So, Venu, undoubtedly a great teacher. I'm not going into that because many have mentioned his teaching abilities, and then his teaching, particularly, ancient India and Mughal India, and China and Japan. No one to match him. He was, such a good teacher. Besides that, what I would like to highlight is Mr. Venu gave his full time to Loyola College. And if you can, one area where the college is really indebted to him, and many would remember him, is the LTS, Loyola Theatre Society. Every year there will be an annual drama, staged in the Madras Museum Theatre, and Professor Venugopal with Michael Muthu, the famous director, would get a team from the city. These are all students from different colleges coming and then practicing in Bertram Hall from evening 6 o'clock to night 10 and 11. And he would be with them, sitting with them, and then completely accompanying them. And whenever in the month of September, October, this drama is staged, papers used to carry reviews, and there is a people will be looking forward for such a play. I think Professor Venugopal played a major role, and with him also, at the NTSD, the Loyola Theatre Society did. And Venu in the beginning, many said very strict, but after some time, he was made as vice president of the sports committee, which means he has to, the PD, the physical director, the Sakti Sealant used to work with Professor Venu. And most of our history students, they are sportsmen. And that's the time, he understood the background of the sports students. That he used to tell me that Bernard, they are coming from this background. We have to be extremely understanding with regard to the sportsmen. And the pep talks he used to give before the Yale Mudaliar meet, and the way in which Loyola, scaled the heights in sports, credit goes to Professor Venugopal, because another area which attracted him and where he spent a lot of time was sports and with the sportsmen and understanding them and helping them along. Many would say that, Venu sir was not interested in research, but I must tell you, I must confess to you today that both of us registered under Miranda the same day for PhD. And Professor Venugopalan had a great interest in doing research, and particularly the area that he articulated for the research was history as a biography. He was interested in biography and biography. So history as a biography was dear to him, was closer to his heart. And that is the area in which he wanted to do his study, research. But somehow Venu could not continue the research. And he would always say that, Bernard, I am where I'm there where I started, and you have moved. Anyway, Professor Venu need not be, he is not who requires a PhD. Any number of PhDs can be conferred on him. Also, the quiz programs that he conducted, he conducted so many. He started with the Itihasik, and then there were demands from other colleges and schools to conduct, quiz programs. And that was another great area in which, he was interested. But friends, what I would like to say and then conclude is this. Venugopal did not have any other distraction. For him, BA history program and students, 24/7 college and 24/7 students. I don't think that any teacher would remember any student with the department number. And Professor Venu would, whenever he meets a student, he would immediately tell his full name and then the department number and the year in which they studied in Loyola College. That was grit that he established with the students, the love and affection that he had for the students. His family, as rightly said, Vigu and Nono, from the birth to this day, we have seen that growth. May not be, Professor Venu used to tell, everything about the family, share everything about the family. So many times we have gone to his house to eat, and then Professor Venu would come and he will not miss any social function of not only the students but his own colleagues. Any of us, marriage functions or any other function in the family, he would come with the family and make sure that, it is a department one. He would always say that the department is home away from home. The college is home away from home. And that is what, those are the values, that he inculcated very strongly in us. And it is a great loss. Month and 1.5 months before I spoke to him, and he said that Bernard, I'm not well. Bernard, I'm not good. And that was so sad to hear from Professor Venugopal, because he was a person bubbling with life, jump and talk, and always encourage us. But he was so low. And that itself was a very, very sad moment for many of us. And I'm sure that this is a great loss, but definitely he lived in the hearts and, in the hearts of many of our students in Loyola College, not only from the history department and also from the other departments. And I convey my deepest condolences to the family and to all our students who are, who studied in our college. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for putting in your words so beautifully. And as you rightly said about the Loyola Theatre Society, I have heard so many people talk about the Theatre Society, how it was so vibrant, and the beautiful work that they had done. So thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your words with us. I invite Dr. B.P. Jayachandran to share his words and thoughts with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Respected principal, my dear colleagues, past colleagues, and I thank Dr. Anuradha and other students, friends, etc., and Professor Venugopal's family members. This is a really condolence. It's shocking for me. I was not available here. I was Kodaikanal, and it was shocking for me because he was always ill in LT. The first thing I would like to tell you is he is more or less like a sportsman. He jumps into three-story building of the college and takes class. And also he walks from the house to the college. He never had a chance of driving a car or owning a car. He said, no, I walk. I want to be fit. That was his fitness and is looking after his health so well. And his classes was totally dramatized. He's a superstar of the history department. He used to take, because I was a student of him, first stage and second stage I was his colleague. And he is China and Japan class and Indian history classes, forest and all, excellent. And he tip of the finger, I think he's a model of a teacher. Tip of the finger, he will all the facts and figures, and without any papers in his hands, he used to take class. It was wonderful, inspirational, and he dramatized there in the stage of the classroom. That was his excellency. And we lost a great soul. And second important thing, many people do not know, he was not only a very good official affiliated to the management, but he was also a labor leader. I was an association, we had association, he was a strong leader of the association. And he worked and struggled many times. He went on strike for UGC program, etc., to get salary revised and all these things. He was a good labor leader. And the third important thing, he was vice principal of the college and also a controller of examination. And from the beginning, I see him as a model. He used to keep all the records pakka. Today only we have all the digitals available for us, modern digitals. Those days, meticulously he maintained all the records of the students' profile and all the attendance, etc., pakka he will maintain, and also teach us how to maintain records. That was his excellent administrative capacity of Mr. Venugopal. Venugopal is a very loving personality. He looks with a beard, very strong and very serious person. But in fact, if you move with him, he was a very loving, very energetic, very soft-spoken person ever seen in my life. So his loss is a great loss for not only for me, for the student community and the college, for the academic circle. So with that, and also I traveled with him many times to Goa with the students, and he is really a gentleman, in other words. And with that note, my heartily condolence to his family, and my really, I'm very sad. I'm very sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And a very important point that you mentioned, that his role as an administrator, his record keeping, really wonderful to know about it, sir. Thank you for sharing in your words, sir. Just now I received a message from Reverend Father Alphonse Manikam. So our former head of the department, he was very much willing to join the program, but he was not keeping well, and he's like right now traveling back to Palimkote. So he has sent in his message. I'll just read out his message to the audience gathered here. It's a great shock to hear of the sad news. He was my teacher, then colleague, and much more a friend, guide, and well-wisher. Last week, I made a call to inquire his health. He couldn't speak, but his wife spoke and requested me to pray for him. Alas, Venu is no more. May his good soul rest in presence of God. My prayerful condolences to his wife and sons. And he also asked me to add about the human nature of Professor Venugopalan, how considerate he was about his fellow colleagues and his students, and how he reached out to each of them whenever they needed him. So thank you, Father Alphonse Manikam. We really miss you in this program. We wish you all the best and take care of your health as well. Now I invite Dr. Silvanathan, sir, to speak to us. Professor Silvanathan.
Yeah. Good evening to you all. I am thankful to the department for organizing this condolence in memory of Professor Dr. T.P. Venugopalan. My heartfelt condolences to Professor Venugopalan's family. I always cherish his sharing, accompaniment, and guidance as a friend, because he never treated me as a junior colleague. From the day one, I enjoyed his the friendship or his guidance. Further, when I became the head of the Department of History, we organized the first alumni meet, the alumni meet. He gave his guidance as well as he participated. He there he found his students. What is exactly his students? Our department, stalwarts. What do you talk about? No, whose witnesses made me to go further. And further, subsequently, we organized teaching programs for our younger colleagues. He participated eagerly and he traveled with us. And he was the whole day, he was with us in all those meetings and guiding our junior colleagues. So this makes me to acknowledge his humility, recognition, and accompaniment. And last time when I spoke to him, I think in March I spoke to him. He spoke to me in a feeble voice, and he never speak like that. He told me to pray for him. Really, I couldn't accept this, but still from the date onwards, I used to send every day a message to him. And on May 23rd, I tried to call him. He couldn't attend the phone. Whereas when I asked when I sent a message, how are you, sir? He just wrote to me, not okay, sir. That was my last conversation and track with him. Really, I'm pained to hear the message from Dr. Bernardi Swami that he is no more, maybe around 9:50. Really, I am broken. I know that's it's really a great loss for the for the family, for the department, and every one of us. I'll join you to pray for his soul, rest in peace.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing in your thoughts and your words about Professor Venugopalan, sir. I invite Mr. Mahesh Menon to share in your words, sir.
Most respected principal, respected head of the departments, all my professors, I hope you remember me, but although it's a very sad moment that we are today meeting, it was initially a shock to all of us because most of my batchmates are in touch with me, but it came as a very surprise for many of us that Professor Venugopal is not with us anymore. But his memories, right from the day one, I remember when I entered the college, it was kind of an experience where all my professors who are right now sitting in front of me, and I am admiring all of them, Dr. Sudhakar, Dr. B.P. Jayachandran, Dr. Bernardi Swami, all of them, and admiring and thanking them for the fact that I'm able to speak to you, all of you, because I must say that the department had molded me to what I am today. Thank you so much, sir. Unfortunately, with Professor Venugopalan, I just hope that we had an opportunity to speak one last moment before he had closed his eyes. But his memories of right from the day one, all along, on all of his classes that he had taken for us, with all my
batchmates, I'm sure if they are not around, but they still are with us, because every moment we share the thoughts of what we experienced with him from day one, with the experience particularly with the ancient heritage, Islamic heritage. All of them are there in our bloods, I must say, because that is the way he has been communicating it, teaching us from day one. And we share with the experience of particularly the Southeast Asia, China and Japan. All of these classes are right and fresh in our minds, even today for the day. And the dramatic experience of attending some of his classes, particularly the way he used to take the classes and the way we used to always admire that someday we also would be able to emulate him in what he is able to. He doesn't have to refer any of the notes because everything is in his mind. Everything is crystal clear, every topic that he used to take. And that's something which we cherish and always remember. And I'm sure all of you, many of our seniors who are here, Mr. Sanjay Pinto, Gautam is here. So I'm sure all of my batchmates and contemporaries are here, so who would vouch that it was undoubtedly one of the greatest experience that we've had, particularly 92 to 95, my batch, including one of the classmates who was the president of Students' Union, Senthil. Everyone shared a wonderful experience. Professor, today Dr. Hari Krishnan, who was the professor in BITS Pilani, Mr. Vijay Jayarajan, he's a CEO and NRI and an investor in Singapore. All of those batchmates. Sam Kurian, he's there in Kerala. I'm currently in Kerala, so with all my good wishes, particularly with the memories that we've had, I'm still we have to come into terms that he's still not around. But my sincere condolences to all his family members, Madam and two of his sons, Vignesh and Shishir. And my deep condolences to them, and my hearts go out to them. All my family members joined him, particularly my mother, who's Professor Venugopal attended my wedding reception, so he doesn't miss us. Professor Jayachandran was mentioning that he doesn't miss any of these weddings, and he makes sure that he attends all of the weddings of any of his students and colleagues. And I was still coming into terms, but my deep condolences to his family and all my professors and senior professors. Very sorry to hear this news. Kindly accept our deep condolences, all of you. Thank you for this opportunity. Professor Anuradha, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your experiences with Professor Venugopalan. I invite Mr. Nerigilian Rajaraman. Sir, you can share in your thoughts and words, sir.
Good evening to all of you. Professors, my super seniors, and my contemporaries, juniors. It's a very sad situation to meet all of us. I think Loyola History Department has a very unique culture in the entire Loyola College. I think that's the only department which had its doors open always. Even if the college gates are closed, I think the history department doors were open because students used to always be there. Not only the history students, I think even the other department students used to bounce in because the faculty, our professors used to interact with all of them with the equal emotions and equal status and things like that. So everybody had the intention to come in and interact. And moreover, I think most of the seniors who were in the 1980s and 1990s, the Loyola used to have only day college and evening college. There never used to be self-financing college. So the college used to close at 3:30 p.m. The day college used to close at 3:30 p.m. And our interactive sessions happens only after 3:30 p.m. I think I think until 5 o'clock we used to stay there. And all our professors used to be there interacting with us. As Sanjay Pinto rightly pointed out, Professor Venugopalan used to see every student as a blue boy, but everyone saw him as a blue-eyed professor who wanted to have him as his teacher. He was so inspirational to all the students in the entire college. I still remember he used to tell, if you trouble will trouble you. I mean, these were some of the quotations which have remained in the memory. I mean, even till today. Like, so he used to be he used to, I mean, enact a play. In fact, rather than delivering a lecture. So he used to say, this is my second lecture. I used to ask him, what is that? He says, when I come from my home, during the walk, my first lecture happens. I always rehearse my class during that walk, and my second lecture happens in the class. So he used to be always kind of keep on reading and keep on acquiring a knowledge or history. I think he made history very lively. He lived with history, in fact, rather than teaching history, he lived with history, and I think he's going to live in history in the history department. So I'm extremely sorry for his loss, and I think he's one of my family members. He even came to my father's death. He comes to every event if he is aware of. He takes part in our emotions, in our sorrows, in our pain, in our happiness. Every emotion he takes part. I think it's a very great loss to the entire history family and to the entire college and to the entire academic community in the Chennai city. I think. I mean, he's known in all other colleges too. It's not that he's popular only in Loyola. I think he used to travel to other colleges as kind of as in debating societies where he was called as judges. In theater, theater used to be really active. He used to stay till, as Professor Bernard said, we used to see him because when we used to go late, sometime around 9 or 10, he used to be there in Bedroom Hall rehearsing with students. So he is such a kind of a committed person in each and every activity he performed. I think he's very unique, and you can't have a parallel to him. I think it's really a great loss. I sincerely express my condolences to his family members who are very known to me. I always visit him whenever the opportunity happens when I visit Chennai. I recently visited Father Alphonse in 2018 when I was an official trip in Palankotai. You may not believe Father Alphonse served me dinner at 11 o'clock, kept the dinner for me. I traveled from Madurai to Palankotai by road, and he served for me at 11 o'clock in the night. That's the culture I think the entire history department has. I think that's what history department is known for, and that's what these senior professors have imbibed a culture, a unique culture in the department. I think that will survive, and that will speak the name of Professor D.P. Venugopalan in the history of history department. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have traveled through your memory lane, and you remember with so much warmth the relationship that you had with Professor Venugopalan. Now I invite Dr. Gautam to share in your thoughts, your words, and your experience with Professor Venugopalan.
Thank you, Madam. It's a very emotional moment for me to recall my experience, my journey with Professor Venu. That's how we all fondly called him. I was literally in shock because I was not aware of his ill health. It was not known to many, and I was really deeply shocked to get to know as to the last few days that he had to undergo certain medical torture, so to speak. So when I got the news, it was like all of us said, it was a very personal loss. Everyone, I'm sure, would have, as is witnessed today, would have at least volumes of anecdotes to share about how Professor Venu touched each one of our lives. And I'm no exception to that either. And all that needs to be said, the good ones which I had in my mind, has already been shared by everyone here. And I'm able to recall certain things that, has holden good stead for me as well, because he was my teacher, he was my mentor. And for a while, I guess probably I had the privilege of being this young kid who also went on to become his colleague. I was his colleague for probably a couple of years before his retirement. And as everybody was mentioning, he was He was a libertarian. He was a Democrat. He was a kind of a person who had no boundaries, barriers, or anything like that. He connected with everybody. He was at ease, a person with gravitas, an absolute thorough gentleman. So his loss is an enormous loss for every one of us, and all of us are proud with the culture that history department has, inculcated us with. All our professors here, we are extremely proud of the fact that we have had them as our mentors, as our guides, and we had the good fortune of sitting in their respective classes. And Professor Venu was my first history class was Professor Venu's class, our ancient history, our ancient heritage. So I was absolutely floored by his class, and most of them were saying that, of course, I do agree. If somebody is taking up a history program, they were considered, at least in south of Vindhyas, they were considered as, as Sainath, very eloquently put it, a moron. So I was offered chemistry at Loyola College, but I said I wanted to join history. And Father Principal back then, he was surprised. He said, I'm offering you chemistry and you want history. I said, yes, Father, I'm interested in studying history. And he couldn't believe his ears for a while. And then he said, and that shouldn't be a problem. And I walked up to the department. I remember, I was a bit late to join history department. So I walked up to the department and I had Professor Sudhakar and Professor Venu, and I introduced myself. They were very, very kind to me. And I also, threw in the fact that, my brother was an alumnus of this department. And immediately, I could see the excitement in all the professors' face. They said that you don't have to, do all those formality, get in, come to class is what they said. And the first class was Professor Venu's class. And I still remember I was sitting in the front and I was at awe with the way the poetry, his class was basically a poetry. And I still try to emulate him in my class. I give the advice that he had given to me. I give those advice to my students as well, and I'm still learning from him. And I wish I could be at least 10% of what Venu sir was to me, to my students. So thank you, ma'am, for this opportunity. And my deepest condolence to Professor Venu's family and his children. Unlike, he never misses any moment of the student or the faculty, but unfortunately I was not able to be there, and that is still very painful. I was held up at college with some a training program there. So my deepest sympathies to the family and to his children. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Gautam sir. Definitely, he is a role model to each of us here. Now, I'll just read out a message from Professor Munusamy. So, sir had joined us, but later he is unable to join the program. I'm not sure he's having some technical issue. So, he has sent in a message, and I'll read out the message for you. He was not only my student, but also my professional colleague and friend. He visited my house first after his wedding, and I threw a grand reception for him. We have such warm memories. A very good teacher, very punctual, good manners. It is a huge loss. I really loved him. Got his postgraduate seat at Pachayapas. He used to meet me after retirement also at home. So these are the words that Professor Munusamy has shared with us here. So thank you, sir. We really missed you. It would have been really great if you had joined this along with us here. Thank you, sir. And now we have received so many messages from all his students. Just I'll share a video. So this is a compilation of the messages that we had received in memory of Professor Venugopalan. And now I invite Professor Ranganathan to thank as well as share his memories on Professor Venugopalan, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Professor Venugopalan is mesmerism of his personality, I would say. I have come to believe that a great teacher is a great artist, and Professor Venu is the one. Teaching might even be the greatest of the arts, since the medium is the human mind and spirit. He played a cardinal role in the building up the character of students. His mission is very simple. He always says, my teaching is for man making and nation building. He is a nation builder, in fact. He touched our lives and he changed the course of our destiny. And he is an awakener. He is not only a teacher, he is a great awakener. With the chalk, I would say with the right mix of chalk and challenges, he inspired us so much. He's an inspirational and a motivational teacher, I would say. And as Father Principal said, a teacher of eternity does not know where his influence ends. A great teacher par excellence, a man of gravitas, opened new vistas to the student community. A genius, I would say, in the Department of History. He exemplifies great things on his own, an ideal teacher, I would say. A man of perennial wisdom. His life and the character and his strength, vigor is something extraordinary, something very difficult to define, I would say. Not so easy to define Professor Venugopalan. As I said, he's a fascinating teacher to the rest of the world. As Dr. Gautam said, he's a creator of history. I would sum up Professor Venu in such a way: is the determination, is the sustainability, creativity, performance, commitment, selflessness, respect for others, innovation, impact, drive, zeal, enthusiasm, and his charisma is endless. He's an inspirational and exemplary, tenacious, articulate, unstinting, diligent, enthusiastic, vibrant, dedicated, wise, passionate, fair, and truly a role model. He enthralled us, and he will continue to enthrall always. Professor Venu used to say always, meeting and departing are ways of life, but departing and meeting are hopes of life. With just few lines, I would like to thank for the principal for allowing us to organize this homage, and also for giving us a constant motivation and encouragement. Thank you for the principal for being with us on this critical time. And I thank Mr. Sainath, Mr. A.K. Vishwanathan, who's very close to Professor Venugopalan, Mr. AKV, and Mr. Sanjay Pinto, and Mr. Rajesh, Mr. Tamilvendan, Professor G.J. Sudhakar, Dr. BDS, Dr. B.P. Jayachandran, Father Alphonse, Dr. Selvanathan, Mr. Magesh Menon, Dr. Nedungilli, and lastly, Dr. Gautam. I thank Dr. Anuradha for taking such a great effort to organize this homage. In spite of her domestic work, she is able to organize in such a great way. And I thank all the faculty members in our department for giving us, giving us the cooperation to conduct this program. I thank all the students, UG, PG, faculty members, both inside and outside, and all the alumnus, both inside India, outside India. And I thank everyone, individually. I thank all the, technical staff in our department, in our college for giving a constant support. I thank you all for this, giving us a wonderful, cooperation and collaboration in order to conduct this, homage. I thank you all. Thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you, Ranganathan sir. And to add on to Ranganathan sir, I have to thank Father Justin Prabhu, Mr. Professor Nestor, Mr. Sampson, and Professor Marcela Esther for the technical support that they have extended. And we see a lot of people present here, and if anybody is really willing to share a few words, if you feel you want to share, maybe one or two can please come forward. You can unmute your audio and you can speak.
I would like to. My name is Warren. I'm from the KH batch, the batch of 1988, presently in Singapore. I was very close to Professor Venugopalan. In fact, he was very, very important in my life and shaping my career. While I was joining the army, I do remember his military history lessons really helped me to crack my UPSC exam. And I served the army. I was a Kargil war veteran, after which I had come to meet him. And I do remember, after maybe 15, 20 odd years, he still remembered my batch, my name, and my roll number. So the only thing I would say is I was in touch with him, in fact, through one of my classmates, Hamid. He got in touch with me on a WhatsApp group with Professor Venugopal. We were in touch till about a couple of weeks back, where every day, unfailingly, he would keep sending us some forwards, motivational forwards. And that stopped. We all are busy in our work, so I hold myself guilty that I did not take the effort to really, I just thought maybe Professor Venugopal would have been very, very busy. But it just came as a shock. And I know he's a legend. He's left an indelible mark in many students' lives. I have no doubts about it. And I believe his legacy will live forever. And I would like to once again convey my condolences to the entire family and to this history faculty. In fact, I believe the Loyola, someone did make a mention that Loyola College History Department is one of the best departments. And, come what may, the kind of things that we've learned from here is so fresh and clear in my mind, So whenever we get a chance, I do come along with my classmates to the college. And I remember my last interaction with him face-to-face was when he was the controller of examinations. And it was so nice. And I won't take much of time of anybody because I know it's an elaborate function that was organized. But thank you everyone for really making this. It was so pleasing to really hear such lovely words of a legend. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining and thank you for sharing your experience.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Romila, yes.
Just 2 minutes. So I was a Viscom student, but I was very lucky to be his student as the allied in the allied courses. So for a week he was teaching us, and I still remember how we used to jump on the podium and then jump back again within a few seconds and take classes. So when I got an opportunity to take classes in the same classroom, and in that floor, I always remembered Sir, and how he would and I had to reach that mark of my teacher. So I remember that, and even as a child, through Dad, he would send some small gifts, trinkets to me, which I still have. I still treasure them. And once he told me how he wished he had a third daughter. So I've enjoyed that affection both from Professor Manuswamy and from Professor Venugopal. I met him recently at the bank, maybe a year back, and we were sharing some old photos, black and white photos of them. And so it was a very good memory that I have, my last memory of him. And he caught my husband, for having the phone when he was at college. And as a vice principal, and he made him pay a fine. And at my wedding reception, he recalled that. And he has this fantastic memory about students. So my sincerest condolences to his family. I met them. So my heartfelt condolences to the family, and may we all continue this tradition of love for students and for great teaching. So I think that's what we should take forward. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Ramila, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else would like to share? Okay, so we formally conclude this program. Thank you all for taking your time off to be here and to pay homage to our beloved teacher. We remember him, and yes, John sir. John sir, would you like to share?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to add to what people have already said is that he gave his everything. He was very dedicated, whatever it was, like whether it was felicity with the subject, the fluency of the language, the passion of the teaching, or anything like his acting skills or whatever. He used everything, and not only during his service, but also, as Father Principal mentioned, also after retirement. So I think this is something for which we have to thank his family particularly, so for giving such a precious, wonderful person to our department, even after retirement, and that too, that kind of job, that controller examination, other thing was a very sensitive job that showed the kind of confidence that the college had on him, and the amount of love he had towards the college. So one regret I had is that, of course, and I was very fortunate to be in touch with him including WhatsApp, and of course many times meeting him, and as everyone said, so there's always a great love with which he received us. My only regret is that so many times he had invited me home, but never did I have that opportunity. Somehow it didn't work out, and it's kind of ironical that I'm communicating with this family in this way for the first time. But one message I want to leave the family on this day is that more than giving you my condolences, I want to send my assurance, our assurance is that Professor Venugopalan will continue to live through the wonderful family, his children and his wife, and especially through his students and through the wonderful work he has done. So he will continue to live. So long live, and may his soul rest in peace. I thank the department for extending this courtesy not only to Professor Venugopal, but to his family and to the entire Loyola family, which of course are inseparable. Thank you very much to the department and to everyone. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, John sir. So we bring this program to a final conclusion. I thank all our invitees and all participants who have taken your time off to be here with us and to share in your experiences. It's a fitting tribute to a legend who lived with us. So thank you all. We'll keep in touch. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.